have a quorum, so I'm just going to open the meeting, and are we going to approve the minutes, or we can't?
No, don't.
Okay, so if we have anyone would like to discuss anything, just, Ed?
Good morning. I just wanted to run down some activities during this past month. In August, I think that the activities that EDC undertook, recognizing the diversity of the county itself. During August, EDC had taken an opportunity to travel through our county and go up and visit Stony Creek on a Saturday for their various activities that the Chamber of Commerce has been putting on. Secondly, had an opportunity to visit Matt and the efforts that the town of Horicon is undertaking with their historical museum restoration in Adirondack, and getting through the construction there a little bit off of the area was a little bit of a challenge. I should have gone the long way and gotten in up by the next exit. Matt got me out the right way leaving there, but also we had undertaken a follow-up visit tour of Lake George and the wastewater treatment plant and the Lake George Coalition as it relates to their funding for a new wastewater treatment plant for Lake George. It's estimated the cost of about $18 million. Bob Blaze, Mayor Blaze, and the coalition has been working and bringing up various representatives from the state and federal government to see how they can be helpful to Lake George. Just points out the need for improvements, just not for Lake George with wastewater, but also for areas of improvements in bridges, highways, as well as water treatment, water pressure. I'm going to be meeting later this week with Supervisor Merlino in Lake Luzerne relative to an issue that they have with water pressure that's affecting a portion of their time as well. We also had an opportunity, and some of our supervisors here met and welcomed Rosanna Rosito, the new Secretary of State for New York State, who is very outgoing, pleasant, and the supervisors from Warren, also Washington, Essex County were there that outlined some concerns that pertain directly to her jurisdiction, as well as some concerns over the reimbursement contract process, as well as citing the need again for priority looking at broadband in our area. And I know that's an issue with many of the communities on obtaining some of these grants is the very, very slow process. Matt actually had a lot more hair when he started the process with the Dormitory Authority on the money for the Horicon Museum. Empire State Development is attempting to find some mechanism where there can be a greater and improved way of obtaining a faster reimbursement and just getting contracts underway in the area. Also, I've been doing some work with the town of Stony Creek, which has an exciting project of looking to acquire some property and develop a new library that would be developed along with a mix of some of the trails that they have in that area, their park, the forestry area. There's about 250 acres in that area that each community has a uniqueness that's not matched by another community. Queensbury has certain assets, Glens Falls, Horicon, Stony Creek, and I think that's what one of our efforts of EDC is, to assist each of these communities to try to assist them in a way to bring out and highlight those activities. Having a community library in Stony Creek that's large enough to have the ability perhaps to have additional computers and software there to help in the means of, while broadband and cell coverage is very minimal, to have a center to be able to go for the business community, children after school, as well as just general information. I think is great to have some conference center areas, so that we will continue to work with Frank in his effort to seek some funds to acquire some property in that particular area as as well. Just a couple more things. We are in the process of fine tuning our Exit 20 study. We are submitting that to the Department of Transportation, has agreed to serve on the subcommittee with us, and they're in the process of reviewing the RFP so that we're online and doing something that is consistent with what the DOT is, so that when we get done with the study, we have an opportunity to seek some funding that will perhaps help us with our bicycle, pedestrian, our emergency access vehicles through that area, as well as providing additional traffic access in and out of that area. And for people that say that that traffic promotes business in that area, example, last Sunday, the traffic was backed all the way up to basically Exit 21 coming south on Route 9. Those people in those vehicles from out of state are not interested at that point in shopping in Warren County. They'll find some other way to get back on the Northway, or just limit their ability to travel through that area. And on Exit Route 149, I went the long way around to see, and that traffic was almost backed up to Bay Road on the traffic on that particular day. And coming north, it wasn't too much better. And so I think that, again, is a major economic intake for Warren County that we have to really review and come up with some solutions, as well as trying to develop the lower half of that Route 9 area by Sweet and Weeks Road in that area for some economic development. What we have done is we have updated and put together an update on the Queensbury Business Park to actively promote the business park in our area. We are in the process of updating the appraisals, valuation on those properties, and we'll be promoting Queensbury Business Park. We have a number of series that will be going online, as well as other areas. One of the areas that we will be embarking upon is that we have from Exit 18 to Exit 26 located within Warren County. We really need to, John Strow is doing an excellent job at Exit 18 in terms of economic development. We need to do a little bit more in Cary Park. But what we want to do is really look and focus upon those northern exits from Exit 26, downward in the Pottersville, Chester, Brant Lake, Horicon area, down to Luzerne and Stony Creek, in those particular areas. And what we hope to do, budget permitting next year, is to do and undertake some GIS work, as well as look at land use in those particular areas, what land is available, what land is developed in those particular areas as we go north from the areas, and different kind of development. But certainly I think that the development that we can encourage and help also with our loan programs is to work with some of the smaller businesses up in that area. In Adirondack, it's small businesses that make that community run. The general store in that area. You go over to the Brant Lake area, and you see the same thing that is occurring over in those particular areas. And so we want to make sure and publicize the availability of these loans, small loans, to the smaller businesses in our particular area. Just a couple more items that I want to mention is that, once again, we have our 4th annual planning and zoning activities and events on October the 6th at the Fort William Henry. We have representatives there, and for those communities that want to have their members receive the certification for the education component are available. We average about 75 to 80 individuals from Warren, Washington, Essex County. Some even come from Hamilton County in the area. And I think we have a diversified presentation. I know a few of the supervisors do attend that on a regular basis. Upon receipt of the contract, most likely we will be starting our 2nd EPA job training grant program, at Local 773, the Building and Tech Metals, in, October. And I would be remiss if I did not mention today at 2 o'clock, the grand opening of the Marriott, Hotel in, Lake George. Congratulations, and, I know that they, are gonna put together a very good management team in place, and complement the efforts of Mayor Blaze and others in making Lake George, 365. The Lake George Chamber will be hosting a forum, on September 13th at Earl West, entitled Lake George 365, and, EDC will be moderating that, program among the business communities in the greater Lake George, area today. Also, while he's not going to be attending here in Warren County, the Speaker of the House of Representatives is in, the region Saratoga today, Paul Ryan. He's not, quite gonna make it up to, Warren County. Next time, perhaps we can get him. And finally, the priority going, forth for us really has to be, engaging our, local businesses, with our federal and state legislators, and, making, the broadband, a priority as we march into 2017. And that means, communicating and putting, and asking, for, support from our Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, as well as both the U.S. Senators and at our state. There are federal and state programs that are available that we're going to have to coordinate and work together in order to make the, program successful, on broadband and cell, in our, area promoted. It's not going to be an easy task, but I think that we can get good support, from, the state as well as the federal government, and that there involves, Stefanik, Gillibrand, and Schumer in order to make that happen, and the Federal Communications Commission.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you. The city, was somewhat fortunate recently. I actually did attend that meeting. I was in the back of the room. I, was not appropriately dressed, so I, hung around in the back there, but, we're thankful to, the troops, and thank you, Ed, for your efforts there. It, you know, I was glad to see in the Post-Star, you know, at least a general indication of geographical parameters in terms of the, you know, so seems like we've kind of moved the geography out a little bit, which I think is good. So not all concentrated on one street. So.
No, that was, you know, that's again, the one of the focuses has been and will remain, South Street, but, it has been, in the, pursuing this, you're allowed to do that. What you were not allowed to do is necessarily take geographical sections of the city and perhaps have something way on Lower Warren Street or something way up on Broad Street. You needed to be kind of a compact, area, for that to, occur. And, through a collaborative, effort and, support from many, the city was successful in the, application.
Thank you. Do we have a quorum for LDC?
That I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'd like to go ask Christie, but you have to.
Okay, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Great.
Where do you want to house? House Smith.
Okay.
Up in Saranac, and I stopped at the, around that regional airport. You know what they're running?